What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode number I can't number 104. We're not even going to restart. Fuck it, we're doing it live. I'm Fox 2. We got Pirate
Hello, everyone.
and
And
Topher.
Topher's going to copy exactly what I said.
Actually, no, I wasn't. But wow, way to just pigeonhole me and assume that you know me and what I'm gonna do. Like, do I even need to be here?
Dang.
God,
God, it just keeps getting better and better. It really does.
I'm going to continually do that every time now. If
been
that's the only way
marginalized
to
enough
stop
this
them.
week, Pirate. I don't need
Been
you thinking that
marginalized.
you know me and can just put me in your little corner down here and know exactly what I'm gonna do and tell me how I
Nobody
need to
puts
behave.
Topher in a corner.
Nobody puts Topher in a corner.
I'm sorry, Massa. Can I talk now?
Wow.
Oh.
Way to take that to a dark place.
And Topher's also racist? Is that in your corner?
Wow, that's a pretty serious accusation right there.
This is getting heavy fast. Let's talk about what we've been reading. I guess I'll start. Not a lot. We'll start there. I have been reading a book. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it because I want all of us to read it. It's one that I'm going to send to each member of the podcast, and I'd like for all of us to. I'm going to try and get the author to come on the podcast with us and talk about it. It's something that is not yet released. Won't be out until next spring sometime. So I want to try to get everybody to read it and go over it. So that kind of occupied the little bit of reading time that I did have. Other than that, I've been playing the shit out of some Call of Duty. Not going to lie. Really enjoying it. We'll move things over to Topher.
Do I need to say anything here?
I was just gonna say, do I need permission from Pirate to talk now?
Yes. Pirate, may he speak?
Yeah, I guess so.
Good, because he was going to fucking
thank
talk
you.
anyway.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Let's see here. I've been trying to catch up on some of my Marvel stuff. I'm still reading pre-Secret Wars shit. I read Ms. Marvel, basically everything up to the Last Days part. Ms. Marvel's been really good with Kamala Khan, really, really interesting character. It's a lot of the reasons why people liked Spider-Man back in the day. I mean, he's the most popular Marvel character now and has been for a long time. And, people know him really well and he's been through a lot. But, a lot of that early, high school teenager trying to figure out how to, live life and deal with friends and social situations and relationships and teachers and parental commitments and and all that stuff while juggling what it means to be responsible as a person and as a superhero. It's got all of that, and it's been really good. I highly recommend that one to anyone. And you don't really need to read a whole lot of other stuff for it to be good. It's not like constantly crossing over with 47 other different series.
Is it pretty approachable from somebody that doesn't read a lot of that series in particular? Is it?
Oh, for real. I mean, they kind of set you up a little bit. For real, man. Yeah, I mean, technically, her first appearance, Ms. Marvel is an Inhuman. Her first appearance was in one of the Infinity, one of the Infinity crossovers, Infinity Inhumans or something. I don't know. Inhuman. I don't even remember the fucking name of it. To be honest, I've said on this podcast before that of all the Infinity stuff, that one, some of the stuff they threw in there with the Inhumans was the most forced bullshit. And it's oh my God, if you read everything but this, at least you'll be happy. But it did have, it did introduce some new characters. And there was a short bit in there where, it was her first appearance. She's a new Inhuman. um, who cocooned during the events of Infinity when Black Bolt destroys Adelan and releases a Terrigen mist cloud over the planet, and all these people start turning into Inhumans, and she's one of them. She's a Muslim Pakistani teenager from Jersey City, and and she turns into an Inhuman and realizes, holy shit, I can do some cool stuff, and tries to on a low on a small scale, in her neighborhood, try to start make a difference with it. And it's very approachable. It's you don't need a ton of lore or history or anything beyond that to have any idea what the hell's going on. The one series that it does lend itself well to reading with it is Charles Soule's Inhumans series, or Inhuman, excuse me. And so I've been reading that one too. You don't have to read them. Like, she appears in that one a couple times. But it's that one is also kind of following what happens with other new Inhumans that are resulting from the Terrigen bomb, and then coming to find new Adelan and the whole Inhuman royal family and what Medusa's been up to and all that. And that one's actually been pretty good too. But that one is a little more old school Marvel, and whereas Ms. Marvel is more of a, like, people, like, there's a letters column at the end of it, which I always love reading letter columns, because you get to see what people, like, all over the place think about it. And I would think most people listening to this are probably very interested in listening to what other people have to say about comics, because you listen to us assholes talk about them every fucking week. So the letter columns are really cool, because people write in and say all kinds of stuff, and it just see how many people have been able to find something in the character of Kamala Khan that resonates with them, and they can relate to. And I think it's a great comic. I'm surprised Fox hasn't mentioned at this point, the whole diversification thing, like, why she gotta be a female Muslim, blah 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 blah. But and
I don't really get that vibe from. I mean, I haven't looked into this, but like the way that you're talking about it doesn't like give me the vibe that they're doing it just to do it, though.
They're not, and that's the thing. And so,
and
like,
that's what can make it good.
I really struggled whether to even mention that that's a part of this or not, because they're not doing it just to do that.
It's not a spotlighted issue.
Like all these, above all, she's an American teenager. Like, she happens to be of Pakistani descent. She happens to be a Muslim, and those things do factor into it, just like all the things in Peter Parker's life factored into him as a character. And it's really cool to see someone who's had a different upbringing than something that obviously my childhood was very different from hers, but it's kind of cool to see how different people from different walks of life all struggle with many of the same issues, of just growing up and trying to fit in and figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing with their lives. And I think it's amazing that this series and this character are written first as a good character and a good superhero story and a good story about a teenager, and who she is and who her background is are just aspects of that, rather than some belabored point that they're trying to drill into you.
Yeah, I like it when I think when there's a good story first, and then they put in the whole tolerance, like, because it gives people, like,
I don't think tolerance was the word you were looking for.
Not tolerance, but
I'm just saying I don't think that was exactly the word you were looking for. We'll put up with it, but
no, it's not.
We're gonna find these people that are different, and we gotta learn to tolerate them.
Well, no, but it gives you that view of
you mean diversification.
Diversification, yeah. Like, but I think, when they do it just to do it, it doesn't, and they don't add in, like their actual normal real lives. Like if they just make a character who's Muslim just for the look of Muslim and don't really like give you any insight to their life.
It's not just
any race, any ethnicity or culture or whatever. I think that's good, but I just, there's some like we've talked about it before. There's been some books that's like, why did they change his character out of nowhere? They just change. It's
when I draw when I draw an issue with it is the books that the first thing that they want to advertise, the first thing that they want to get out there and make public, the first thing that they want to focus on marketing wise is the change to some specific group that is part of like the social justice picture. Whether it's, and I have no problem with any of these groups. I think that they all deserve their own piece of the pie. They all deserve their own attention, rightfully so. But when the first thing that you want to call out and advertise and market and everything about this new comic is that this particular character is gay, or this particular character that's typically been white is now black, or the religion of this character is Muslim or Christian or whatever, then you're completely going around about creating content backwards. You're not focusing on the story, which is what really makes comics great. You're focusing on more of a, I don't want to use the word gimmick, but like niche. You're trying to find some special niche and then write a story around it. Versus, it would be like saying, you know what, we're going to create this comic book and they're going to play basketball in every book. But it's not going to be about basketball players, but they have to play basketball. Well, now you got to fucking work that into a story somehow. And I feel like that's the byproduct that you end up with when you kind of go about it backwards. But when you do something the way that Topher described it, where they come up with a good character, they've come up with a good story for the character, and they push the story first, and they have like parts of the story reflect the fact that this character is of Muslim descent, or of Muslim religion and of Pakistani descent, and because of that, the extraneous issues, the side pieces of her upbringing and her life, her home life, are all different. That to me speaks more of like they're going story first, but then they're also exposing you to like the differences between cultures.
I think it's also, I would agree for the most part with what you said. I also think though that it's difficult to, for a company to do, I mean, it's definitely been a goal of Marvel and DC and major publishers everywhere to get a little better diversification amongst their characters, because
100%.
It has been identified to them that, hey, all your big characters are pretty much white dudes, and maybe the occasional token white chick. Where is everybody else? This is not representative of the people that you
white
see in your life when you walk down the street. So I mean, it's tough because as a company, then you have to try to get more diversification, because doing nothing would be wrong. But when you try and force it in, everybody's like, "Oh, you're forcing it in," and then everybody gets pissed. So, like, I'd say it's very difficult for them to strike a balance and be able to do this without people crying, gimmick and throwing accusations at them,
Sure.
And so, so like, I normally support when they try and change, the old school purist in me, and when I say old school and pure, I'm talking about comics and the way I love characters.
I thought you used to be a Quaker.
Right. Like, doesn't want to see like the characters that I've known that have this history, like suddenly like be turned into something that they're
something
not.
totally awesome.
See what you did there. That hasn't come out yet, has it? No, it hasn't.
I don't even care.
I'm really interested to see how Totally Awesome Hulk is. Just
I'm gonna buy it just so I can use it
and read it, just so I can
Firestarter.
talk about it on this podcast and talk about how great it is. Just to watch you squirm, it's gonna be fantastic. But it's hard when they do some of these characters like Miles Morales still catches flack, and he's been one of the better written characters at Marvel for
a while now,
over a decade at this point. So it's like
has he
sometimes
been around that long, Miles Morales? Really?
Oh yeah, like
I didn't think he was that old.
I don't remember it for sure, but he was part of the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe started in 2000, so that universe has been around since for 15 years. He is a character. His book, because Peter Parker started out. It might only be like
he's
been
only
like
been
7 years or something. 4? Really?
Yeah, first appeared in Ultimate Fallout #4, August 2011.
Let me down. Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't.
So it's more recent than that.
But still, that's still a pretty good amount of time. I mean, that's a good chunk of 4 or 5, almost 5 years now. That's pretty.
But arguably, he's the only arguably he's probably one of the only reasons that they did Secret Wars, so that they could smash all these universes together. And like everyone else in the Ultimate Universe, everybody was like, but Miles Morales and his entire supporting cast, they're like, no, we got to get those guys in real comics. So like they brought over all of that stuff, and and there's still people throwing a fit that that Spider-Man's being replaced by some half black, half Latino kid, and I don't get it. Like he's a great character, and I get Peter Parker's a great character too, but I think we can have both. I think there's room for both, So I think that when they create new shitty characters and try and throw a gimmick in your face that is something that you've had experience with, I don't think people really complain as much. Like the fact is the target audience for comics, still most of them are nerdy white dudes. I mean, let's take a roll call of people on this podcast. Nerdy white dude, nerdy white dude, nerdy white dude, and nerdy white dude. So like when they release new characters that have shitty stories, focused on something that we can relate to, and a lot of comic readers already relate to, they don't get a backlash about what a gimmick it is. I mean, there's been some examples. I mean, look at Daredevil. One of Daredevil's defining qualities throughout his run has been his Catholic faith, the fact that he's religious. And how many people came out and screamed and threw a fit when they released a Catholic, oh, this is a gimmick, like you just want to rub the Catholic religion in our face. Nobody, because most of the audience was Catholic. But if they try to do that with a Muslim character now, and like make their Muslim faith like the cornerstone of how they act and everything, like, man, you can bet that they would hear about it from a lot of people. Oh, this is a gimmick. It's like, I think it's important to try and figure out what you see as a gimmick because of who you are, rather than what's a gimmick for the sake of being a gimmick.
Yeah.
I would think that there's a lot of people of the Muslim faith who read comics who think, oh my God, a Catholic character, what a fucking gimmick, and then see a Muslim character and go, oh my God, I can finally relate to something.
So, Pirate, what have you been reading?
I have not read anything. All I have been doing has been playing Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront.
Which is a perfect segue into our next talk. We wanted to talk about... well, I mean, I guess a little bit about both of them, but more so about Battlefront, because that pertains a little bit closer to the viewers that we have for this podcast. I don't have Battlefront yet. I am. It's obviously well known that I'm a Call of Duty fan. I mean, this podcast was started on my Call of Duty Call of Duty gaming channel. So I have not gotten Battlefront yet. That doesn't mean that I won't get it, but Pirate, I'd love to hear what you think. Topher, you have not played it yet? He has it in the bag, so he owns it.
I have now officially taken it out of the bag.
All right, fair enough.
It's like step 3.
So Pirate,
Right.
What do you think of it?
Well, my first person shooter experience, like the only franchises I've ever played really in depth was, the Halo franchise, the Call of Duty franchise, and the Battlefield franchise. Those are the only ones I only played like in depth with.
Whatever, Battlefield was awesome.
There's things I like about Battlefield's story mode. Super good. Just like Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor had a
Medal of Honor story mode was the best.
Yeah, Tier 1 was the best story mode I ever played.
Completely.
But
Allied Assault was fucking incredible.
Yeah, that one was good.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. But with Battlefront, it's not made like, I'm not talking about storylines. I'm talking about, because obviously there is no storyline with Battlefront. It's all multiplayer and missions. So you don't really it doesn't tell a story at all.
I don't love that. I don't love that it doesn't tell a story.
I
like
not,
campaign modes.
I do, but how long have you had Battlefield or Call of Duty, and how you haven't played the campaign in it?
Not yet, no. True, I will.
See,
I've played every
I'm
one
just saying,
since
that's the
World
thing.
of War, though.
Most people anymore
want the multiplayer.
They'll play the campaign and then one time, and then it's all multiplayer.
100%.
So
unless you're going for the trophies and shit.
I played the Black Ops campaign and then played like 20 minutes of multiplayer and never played it again.
Damn, so he's like the polar opposite.
So you played an hour and a half of the whole game. Well, no, I take it back. Maybe like 3 hours of the whole game. I mean, most people play it a lot more than that. You know what I mean? Like that actually game.
For sure.
But anyways, with Battlefront, it's not made with Call of Duty, you can jump in and you're going to get mopped up until you unlock all the shit, the perks, the guns, the attachments. There's a lot of aspects of leveling up in that game, which makes it more playable.
Replay value.
Replay value is very high. Like, you're going to spend more time on that game. Because
for someone who didn't play the multiplayer a lot and jumped right into it and didn't have anything unlocked versus a bunch of people who were wiping the floor with him with guns that he couldn't even use, it's a bunch of bullshit, and that's why I quit.
See, that's my point. With Battlefront, yes, you unlock more things as you get higher up in level, but it's not really that big of a difference because you can only carry 2 things. You can only set up basically 2 classes. With your character, the only thing you can really change, other than like when you get to high level, is the head of your stormtrooper or the head of your rebel fighter. Blasters, there's like maybe 15 to 20 different blasters, and they're all comparison in power. It's also a game that it doesn't. I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure you can only invite one other person, like one of your friends.
Man,
so you can't have a team of MLG wannabe players running around just getting crazy score highs.
It's for me that, like, the 2 things that you just said, like, I had no idea that, first of all, that the game didn't have a campaign mode, which for me, I just found out this week after the game was released from somebody else that has it. And that's a huge negative. Like, that's a real bummer for me. I really enjoy campaign modes on a lot of games.
I agree.
Like Far Cry 4 would be a perfect example. I didn't really play the multiplayer hardly at all. A little bit, but not much. But the story
Far Cry
mode
has a multiplayer.
Yeah.
I thought
Far Cry was the whole point of Far Cry was the story.
That's the big part of it, and it's got like a multiplayer.
That's like saying Assassin's Creed has a multiplayer. It does, but it's some bullshit they tacked on later. The main game is the story.
Right.
But isn't Far Cry 4's multiplayer just co-op of the campaign?
I think so, but I think there's some additional stuff too.
Oh,
But anyway, like, so that takes away a lot of the desirability for me because it doesn't have that story mode. And I feel like Star Wars, especially, fuck, that could be an awesome story mode.
but why? I mean,
And
it's a
then-
story that's been told. You know what I mean? Like that we all know it.
Why couldn't it be something new?
Well, why
couldn't-
not invest? That's basically what it is. Why not invest in scenery and visuals and sounds that you know and you've seen, but you see them in this vast, like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
you
that's
know,
cool. Like,
combat scenario. I mean, that's what I like
I
about
mean,
it. I mean,
the
visuals,
scenery and visuals all look unparalleled for sure,
Yeah,
100%.
DICE has like this game visual wise has got to be the best. I mean, the sounds, like all the sounds sound just like right out of the movie. The way the walk, I mean, the details that they've put into this game, which is why it's lacking a lot of content as far as maps.
That's my problem. Like, it's got all the bells and whistles. It just doesn't have the meat and potatoes of like what, as a gamer, what I would like to see. You know, for starters, okay. I would really want the campaign mode. The story mode is a big thing, but I've played games that don't have story mode, and they've been good too, but that means you're forced into the multiplayer experience. Well, the number one thing that people want in a multiplayer experience is to be able to play with their fucking friends. So now you're telling me that I got to go pay $70 for a game, $400 for a console to play it on, and then I can only play with one of my friends? Like, so now I'm forced into a situation where I got to pick, you know, if I have 10 friends online playing Star Wars, I got to pick one of them.
Not really, because on PlayStation you can have 8 people in a party, and then 8 people can be playing at the same time, but 2 people only in one lobby.
Well, yeah, no, you can't play together. You can talk
Right.
to them.
Right, that's what I'm
But
saying.
that's like fucking sitting in the same room. If all 3 of us were sitting in the same room and me and Topher were playing checkers and you were over reading a magazine, sure, we could all talk together, but you're still not playing checkers with us.
Well,
I mean-
okay, here's another option. How many times? Okay, when we play Call of Duty in a you know, we in ground war or whatever, yeah, we can see, you know, somebody might run past us or somebody might get a kill in front of us, but how often are we concentrating on what someone else is doing?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you're not necessarily.
When you look at the scoreboard at the end and want to see,
Yeah,
like, I got
it's
more
the-
kills than all of you.
Right. It's the shared experience of like, wow, we
get
all
that.
just got fucking smashed, or oh wow, we played together as a team.
I get
we
that,
won.
but also this game is not made for like team play. It's made for an individual experience. There's sometimes on the map you find yourself just like, holy shit, like looking around at the scenery or the AT-AT walk by, and it's like, you know,
See,
the
that's kinda what-
sounds.
I mean, that's kind of you're
It's-
kind of saying the same thing as me. Like you're saying it's made for an individual experience, and what I'm saying
It
is
is.
like if I want an individual experience, I want to play a fucking story. If I want a multiplayer experience, I want to play with my friends. Like
But
that's
a
the whole
story-
concept of it.
But a story has it has a replay value, but not like the changing dynamics of an online game.
Totally agree. But like Skyrim is the perfect example. There's no,
See-
I don't think there's even multiplayer on that game.
No,
Story
there's not,
mode,
I don't think.
awesome story mode. Had a blast playing it. Sunk a ton of time into it. Awesome game. Definitely one of my probably top 10 or 15 video games I've ever played. Really, really fun game. There's no multiplayer experience.
But see, I don't have the attention span to do, you know,
Oh,
50
I get
days
it.
worth of play on Skyrim. I play RPG games like that for a couple days, and I'm like, I'm so fucking bored with this game. You know what I mean?
How much
like,
have you played? How much have you played this game versus like Batman when it came out?
Well, I played Batman a lot more because that's pretty much all I played. I only had that and Destiny for when I first got my PS4. But Batman was just an awesome campaign storyline like that. I can put, but it's fast paced. Like you don't have to like Fallout 3. I remember when that came out, it was like I spent 2 days walking towards a radio station signal that I heard in the background. You know what I mean? Like it was just I like fast, immediate gratification. You know what I mean? That's why I like Call of Duty, because like the matches are, 5-10 minutes. It's over quick. You're done. On to the next
Sure,
thing.
I get it.
My ADHD or whatever it is,
What do you think?
is that what I enjoy?
Topher, what do you think about the game? I mean, obviously you haven't played it yet, but from like what you've seen and heard, and what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of almost the polar opposite of you right now. To be honest, like everything he said, I'm kind of like, oh, that sounds like something I'd be into.
Okay.
Obviously, a single player campaign would be cool. I would love to play a single player Star Wars game. There have been single player Star Wars campaign type games in the past, and they have been awesome. This I don't think is meant to be that. I mean, sure, if they could make 2 games in one and also have some awesome storyline campaign in here, that would be sweet. But my feeling is that they were making the Battlefront game, not whatever single player story mode campaign that you're saying. Like you say that, other games have had story modes and whatnot. Yeah, Black Ops 3 had one. I played it. It was okay, but really it felt to me like something that they threw in there, so that they could say, okay, yeah, we've got a game, now come play our multiplayer. Like the multiplayer was the real experience of Black Ops 3. And in most games like that, that's the real experience. There's a campaign on the side and you can do it, whatever. There's the zombies mini games and shit, but primarily when people buy a game like this, they're playing it for the giant fucking death matches, so I don't necessarily know that. Oh God, I'm joking. I'm dying. I don't know that.
Damn, he really is.
Sorry,
dying.
hold on.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I don't disagree with what he's saying. Just to kind of interject, I don't disagree with what he is saying about the fact that, like, with Call of Duty, the main attraction for sure, 100%, is the multiplayer. I think it's just a nice addition. Let me preface this by saying I would still purchase Call of Duty if it didn't have the campaign. I would still purchase it just for the multiplayer. I know that some people wouldn't. I would. That's the experience that I most look forward to.
And I think you're about 80%
when
in the consumer.
Yeah, definitely the popular opinion for sure.
Yeah.
When Black Ops 2 came out, or whatever the hell the next one was, and the one now, and like I don't even know what the fuck the other Call of Duty games are, because I didn't buy any other ones because I didn't want to play the multiplayer, and the single player campaign to me was not a storyline for the ages. It was not something that's going to win awards. It's not something that I'm going to buy that game just to play.
Right. I agree.
So I didn't buy any of them.
Totally
So like if you don't buy if people only interested in the single player campaign aren't going to buy the game anyway, and everybody buys these kind of games simply for the multiplayer part, then why make a single player campaign? If you're going to do that, that's great. And having one in there would be a nice extra, and I'm sure it would be fun, and I'm sure I'd enjoy it. But I mean, it does take development time away from making the multiplayer aspect good. Yeah. And if this is the game they wanted to make, then make this game. Don't throw in something else just
the only reason I bring that up though is because of this whole you can only party up with one other person. I think there should be some kind of option to where you can either play in a lobby where people are allowed to party up together, or you can play in a lobby where nobody can party up, or you can only have 2 people per party, or whatever.
They've put it to where you have to think, okay, do we take away a game mode where a player gets to fly X-Wings, or do we take away a game mode where somebody has to escort a AT-AT with an AT-ST, to put in this you know, I mean, I'm going to use the word mercenary type gameplay because that's what it's referred to in Call of Duty. But do
Why
we
would
take
they
away
have
this?
to take out an entire game type to
I think it's
facilitate
because they've
that?
put so much into it
No
that
way.
it's
I'm not buying
you
that.
can't. It's
There's
just
no
like
way.
it's not like you pick different types of
That's
like
such
subsections.
that's such a small addition in the scheme of things. I'm granted I am not a software
you played the
developer.
game?
No, I have not. But I'm saying
Okay.
saying that in this grand scheme of things, it has to take a lot more work to develop an entire game mode and map and all of that functionality than it would take to simply make a restriction on who can be in a party.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they did was they basically said what frustrates the average player of Call of Duty the most. The people who just jump on there, you know, maybe once or twice a week to just play. What frustrates that typical player? And I think a lot of it is campers, people who like to sit in a corner and wait for someone to walk by or run by. People who, these mobs of people that party up, that play hours every day, that run through the lobby. They took all that away. You can't. This isn't a game you could just camp on.
I mean, do you really think that all of that is going to keep good players from like destroying shitty players?
No, I'm 100%. I'm like, I'd mop up on that game, but it's because it's an easy game to play. It's a game that, you know, a kid who just might even be aware of what Star Wars is for the first time, you know, some 10-year-old or something, or some 7-year-old.
Just get shitted on?
No, they could actually come in and play. Like, even when I do great, it's not like it's amazing because the maps are so vast, but there's so many people on them.
How many people are in one game?
It just depends. I think the biggest
40.
lobby has 40, but like if you just play Blast, it's 20, which is TDM, basically 10 on 10.
But so everything he's saying to me sounds fucking awesome. Like I own a Call of Duty game because I fucking hate it.
Right.
The multiplayer in Call of Duty, I can't fucking stand it. Like the whole deathmatch, like 6 people running circles around the same fucking map over and over again and checking the same exact like fucking spawn points every time, and like having a fucking route that you take through a map. Like
you get lost. Shit. Like there's every time when I die and I respawn, sometimes I don't know which direction to go. I'm like, fuck, you can't run, like Chris said, your death route. You can't, like, on, you know how we play Black Ops, I'll have, you know, routes and spots I know to go because I know someone's going to be there. This is not one of them.
How many maps do they have on this game? I know you said the maps are just massive. Are there just a couple maps, or are there a lot?
They're pretty limited. There's like, I think 6 maps at the most.
Ouch.
But there's another one coming out
when the movie comes
in December.
Out, right?
Yeah. December 8th. The Battle of Jakku is coming out December 8th. It's going to be DLC, and
is that free DLC or is it?
If you got the
pre-order?
I think if you got the pre-order, it's free DLC. If you didn't get the pre-order, I think you'll have to buy it. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I'm definitely going to get the game.
No, sure. if you did the pre-order, you get early access to
That's
it.
Right.
Everyone gets it. Everyone gets it when it comes out.
Yeah.
But like that battle is, if you've seen the Star Wars trailer, and everybody better have seen the Star Wars trailer at this point, like the opening scene with the desert with the crashed Star Destroyer, it's that planet. So like you're going to be playing the battle that the movie, you know, opens up on the aftermath of, which to me is fucking cool. You know, and like Call of Duty deathmatch style shit, like I can play it. Like I'm not terrible at it. Like I'm not like oh, I suck at it, so I don't like it kind of thing. Like I've been good at some of those games before. It just bores me getting good at those games. Like having to put in the time to figure out the route you need to run and all the hiding spots and the camping spots, the spawn points, and like, you know, like it fucking drives me nuts. It's not fun to me. Like, because there will always be somebody who has spent like fucking 4,000 times as many hours on it, getting good at it and getting all the fucking perks, and and just having an advantage over you. Like it's not fun. I like to play on a more level playing field, and I know that a lot of hardcore people are going to be like, well, that takes the skill out of it, and to some degree, yeah, it does, but it also makes for a more approachable and fun experience. And my favorite of these games, these kind of games, was the old Battlefield 1942. Like, I haven't played some of the more recent ones. Like, I didn't play Battlefield 3, so I can't really say. But like the more open world, like explore the maps and do some smaller squad based things and have some like run-ins and skirmishes here and there. That isn't your standard deathmatch thing. Like a more of a force against a force. It's more about the battle, not your individual kill score. The finding vehicles and tanks and doing different things with them, and Call of Duty is shit compared to Battlefield 1942 as far as I'm concerned. So hearing that this is way more like that, like the massive scale, you're not a fucking 6-player deathmatch. You're a fucking army, waging a gigantic battle in a huge war. Like that to me sounds exciting, and that's the game I want to play.
I get the appeal of it. I think that for me, and I've played games like that too, like MAG. I played for a while. I have played some Battlefield that's like that, but for me, the problem is that, especially when you're playing by yourself on this massive team of 19 other people or 20 other people or 32 other people, or however many other people, depending on the game, that you're going to get some people that are just not like following the game plan to achieve whatever the goal is, and that in some small way detracts from the whole like experience of like the like you said, the greater scheme of the battle itself. And one way to kind of offset those like fucking waterheads that just run around in circles and play team deathmatch in a fucking like scenario based game mode where you have a clear objective and everybody should work together for it. One of the ways to offset that is to party up and get people, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, whatever, that are at least going to, be able to talk together, all have microphones, communicate, and win or lose, you're trying the objective. That to me seems fun. But unfortunately, if you can only party up with one person, I feel like that just kind of pulls away from that experience a little bit. I mean, I'm still going to get the game.
It also falls to the casual player. How many casual players that just play once or twice a week get on there and want to know these objectives? Like it falls back to the person who can pick up a controller, run around, get some kills, be immersed in a Star Wars setting and universe, and have fun. That's it.
I agree with you, actually, Fox, on that point, that I don't know why they wouldn't have them. It's not a different game mode. It's not a different.
Yeah, it's not like a massive add-on.
It's not like a different add-on, a huge like it's just let more of my friends all join the same game. And I'll be honest, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. That to me sounds. And if they're worried about an imbalance with pre-mades going against a a random lobby, then have a different lobby that's specifically for pre-made groups.
Totally agree. 100%.
And I could be wrong. I could be allowed to maybe have more. I'm not 100% sure. That's just what my understanding of it.
But that being said, the fact that it doesn't have that is not a major point of detraction.
Oh no, dude, it's not enough to. It's definitely not enough to keep me from buying the game.
To be honest, like running up against, trying to play solo, running up against a pre-made is
tough.
Sucks.
It's hard.
It sucks. Absolutely. And that's what. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I tend not to play a whole lot of online multiplayer in these games, because, I don't tend to have a lot of time and people, like tons of people on always at the same time. Like I have a ton of friends who play games. I play Diablo 3 a lot, and I know a ton of people who play that. And I'm normally ever online with maybe one or two of them at the same time. One of the reasons I still play that game so much is because it's a great game that I can just jump into at any time,
play it for a couple minutes,
and don't need a fucking group.
Yeah.
Like I can go and I can play it by myself and do this endlessly repeatable, multiplayer-ish game, and not care that I don't have all my, my pre-made party of friends on to go wreck shit with. Like very rarely can I even find, somebody fucking online to play with. So the fact that I can only play with one of my friends who are never fucking online anyway, hey, that's great. One person online and I've got a full party.
That's true. All right, let's talk about some news real quick. Did either of you get to see the Arrow Flash crossover extended trailer for the crossover?
No, I haven't watched it because I'm a few up. It's funny. The first 2 seasons of Arrow, you guys talked about it every fucking week. I joked about that we should rename it the Arrow Podcast, and I hadn't watched it yet. I caught up and watched it, and it was current all through season 3 in Flash. But we didn't talk about it because even though 3 of us had seen it, Fox hadn't seen it, so we couldn't talk about it. And then now this season, I got a few episodes behind, and now it's all you fucking want to talk about that you caught up on it. It's hilarious.
I did not see last week's either episode yet because of work, but I did get a message last night that Roy Harper will be back in season 4 or 5.
The Flash episode this week, I'm not going to talk about what was in it or whatever, but it was really good. It was really, really good. Definitely one of the better episodes, period, of all the Flash episodes. The trailer that's out is leading up to a big crossover event between the 2 shows. It's a 2-episode crossover, and
I think that's what's going to lead.
It's big time leading into Legends of Tomorrow for sure. It's got Hawkman, and Hawkgirl. Yeah.
The last episode I seen just introduced her. He actually spoke.
Yeah, not 100%. But
yeah,
it's it looks pretty badass. Okay, moving on away from the Flash.
So, speaking of comic book TV shows, have you guys been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all this season?
No.
I will. I know you guys haven't been real big fans of that show, but this season so far, they have been knocking it out of the fucking park. This, hands down, has been the best season of that show by far. How do you rate it
compared to Flash and Arrow? Because that's the fucking golden standard, in my opinion. How does it rate compared to Flash? Flash is the bar that was set, for sure. 100%.
It is definitely a very different feel. I still like the production quality of Flash and Arrow more. They feel like they have their own special tone and their own special setting. The way they do the costumes and just the shooting and everything. You watch that show and you're watching that show even when Flash isn't in the picture because of the just the feel and the tone of it and the filter they use on the camera and everything. It just feels very cohesive as a show. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still gives off a little bit of a network TV vibe. The
CSI Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
CSI
S.H.I.E.L.D. version.
But in terms of storyline, I haven't been watching this. I'm only seen the first couple episodes of this season of Flash, so I don't know exactly the storyline. Last season of Flash obviously was fucking great, but a lot of people said that last season of Arrow was a little lacking. Because the storyline seemed a little repetitive. It was a little, you could kind of tell where they were going with it, and they took a while to get there.
Have you seen any of this season of Arrow?
Again, like I watched the first couple episodes, I think,
Oh man,
and that's it so far.
You gotta get caught up on that.
My girlfriend was out of town for 2 weeks, so we got behind, and we're still trying to catch up on
Yeah.
everything. So, but anyway, like I would say that the storyline and what they're doing with Agents of Shield this season, the story has been more interesting to me than last season of Arrow was. Last season of Flash, maybe not so much because it was the first season of Flash, and the first season of that show was fucking incredible. Was it as good as that? Probably not. But I would say it's up there. Like they've been, I don't know. Like, did you guys watch last season at all?
Shield.
No, I've
Yeah.
watched
I
like 4
watched-
fucking episodes and gave up on it.
I think I watched the first half of it. And
The
then-
first episode was, I mean, the very first episode of the show was good, and then it kind of really went downhill fast. And the first half of that season of season 1 was just not great, and their Thor: Dark World tie-in was pretty pathetic. Towards the end of season 1, it did start to get a little better when they started leading up to Captain America: Winter Soldier, and then the tie-ins they had like right around that movie were really good, and it ended on a high note. So I watched season 2. Season 2 I thought was consistently fairly decent. It wasn't spectacular, but it was a good show. This season so far, they really upped their game. Like it's been really good. I really enjoyed the show. They're kind of taking, like some characters in some interesting directions. Like the storyline that they went with, they didn't just play it safe. They had one entire episode that was very, like you almost expect it to be one of those on a very special, Agents of Shield, like we show you how so and so deals with such and such, like, but it was like, those shows where like there'll be one episode where you're like, oh, do you remember that one episode, like where it was like the episode that, like, if an episode of this show was going to win an award, that would be the episode. Like they had an episode like that this season, and like it was just, I don't know, like it's been really, like I've actually been catching up on that show. When we went to get caught up on shows, we didn't watch Flash or Arrow. We made sure we caught up on Agents of Shield first. So I would say that says something.
Damn. Let's see. The next bit of news we've got, there's a 3D Transformers exhibit coming to Las Vegas. It's going to be at the Treasure Island Resort and Casino in 2016. Like a digitally 3D. I don't know exactly how they're going to do this, but it sounds fucking badass. I would totally go see that.
That's not enough. That's not enough Ds. I mean, like if they had four Ds, I might go see it.
Well,
did you say not enough D's?
D's
Not enough.
nuts.
There's never enough.
There's
Never
not
enough
enough.
Ds.
There's not enough D's nuts. Got him. Oh wow! The look on his face is just, he's like, motherfucker.
No, that's fully where I expected you to take it.
So
Would
there
have
was
been
an
disappointed
announcement
if you
that
didn't.
Marvel is going to be teaming up with ESPN to honor female athletes. They're going to do some superhero-inspired illustrations of ESPN's Impact 25 female athletes. I think it's cool. How do you think they're going to represent Ronda Rousey now?
Oh,
You think she's going to have a
she's still
rubber
gonna be
chin?
She's still gonna be Miss Marvel.
Going to have her head kicked off? Did you guys watch that fight, by the way?
Yeah, she got beat, but you know what?
She didn't just get beat. She got fucked. She looked like she didn't know how to fight.
She's still an amazing athlete.
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
see
see
the
the
whole
100%,
fight.
absolutely.
I saw the knockout. I didn't see.
That
the rest of
that
it.
was just in all honesty a unbiased opinion of the fight. That was the culmination of her getting beat up for the last 7 minutes.
Yeah,
She
it was pretty
got
bad.
completely outclassed. At no point in that fight did she ever have any advantage at all.
Wow.
I mean, it was
Everything she tried, she got shut
What's-
down. Quick.
everything.
What's Holly Holmes' record? Like, is she?
9-0
9-0.
now.
Oh wow. Okay.
See, that's the thing is everybody was all on Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey. what nobody looked at was the fact that Holly Holm is a multiple time world champion boxer and multiple time world champion kickboxer before she came to MMA. You know, Ronda Rousey was a silver medalist or whatever in judo in the Olympics, but she had no boxing experience, no kickboxing experience, no wrestling experience. So she was
no coach that has coached MMA to that level.
She doesn't even have an MMA coach. She has a boxing coach. Like, she's just
Scrappy.
a natural winner. Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, she's scrappy. She's a natural born winner. But the problem is she came up against another natural born winner that's
Who
got
also
a
has
fucking
technical
that's got
training
a
in
pedigree
too
of a
many
decade
fields.
worth of experience. Holly Holm has like 50 fights. She has like
Wow.
50 fights outside of MMA. That's worth something for sure.
Yeah, because I'd never even heard of her. Like, I didn't know the name.
No, I had not either.
Other than
until,
the woman who beat Ronda Rousey.
Exactly.
But it sounds more like, you know, she's got a more impressive record than Rousey.
And you know what's
agree.
sad is that is basically what the UFC has become. Is just publicity for their stars.
Yep, that's
Like,
it.
It's not anymore. That's why I really kind of gave up on UFC. Like, it's, I don't know. That's a whole different topic for a whole nother type of podcast. But
Completely agree. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was worth talking about for a second anyway. Okay, last bit of news. This is not going to surprise anybody on this podcast or anybody that listens to this podcast. Star Wars has broken $50 million in advance ticket sales, smashing the previous record held by Hunger Games. Some locations and some websites are reporting as much as 8 times as many pre-sale tickets sold for Star Wars versus Hunger Games.
Oh,
Yeah,
that number
Hunger
happened
Games.
like weeks ago. That 50 million.
That is
I remember hearing about that.
crazy.
Yeah,
think it was
Hunger
like-
Games. Hunger Games had the old record for ticket pre-sales, and Star Wars has already done 8 times as many as that.
Okay, so the current opening weekend box office record is Jurassic World at 208.8 million.
It's gonna get crushed.
They're projecting that that's going to get beat, even though there has never been a December box office debut that ever topped 100 million.
Yeah.
So
well,
no December movie has ever even gotten half of what Jurassic World got, and they're projecting that this is going to break that record too.
Dude,
This is
because
gonna
no
break
other movie
every
has
record.
ever been Star
This
Wars.
is going to break every record that they keep.
I seen a photo, and I don't know if it's
Did you see this guy?
real or not. Yes,
Is it
that's
this
what I was
one?
getting ready to bring up. Yeah,
My brother,
Dude.
what did it say?
My brother. Here you go.
My brother didn't want anyone in the theater at Star Wars premiere, so he spent $2,180 to buy all of the tickets. What the fuck?
yeah.
Look at that.
That is
Bought out
dirty.
the entire fucking theater so we could get a private
That is
screening on release
dirty.
date.
That's crazy. Now I don't know if it's real or not, but that is
That's some-
just the thought of that.
that's
is
I
some
crazy.
believe it. Oh, I
gangster
guarantee you somebody did that.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it, but
That
I'm
is
just saying.
some
I mean,
gangster shit. What do you think they say to you when you come up in the fucking theater? It's packed. Motherfuckers are like elbow to elbow, sweating their balls off, waiting to see this movie. Just doped up on Red Bull and fucking candy, trying to stay awake. Just
is that how you watch movies?
dude, that's how fucking motherfuckers are gonna be. Don't act like that's not how it's gonna be in that place. Fucking all these people just lined up waiting for 10 hours at a time to get into the fucking theater, and this fucking OG rolls up with a wad of tickets. Like, yep, I'll be watching this one on my own. Somebody is sneaking in there.
That's what I said. That's the first
Guaranteed.
thing I thought was like, I'd like it would be hard to be that guy. Like I almost feel sorry for him. Like the way he's gonna have to defend his theater at this point because somebody's gonna try and sneak in. Somebody's gonna like the theater's gonna like open up and sell like an extra ticket. Somebody's gonna like be like, oh, well, let's just use this theater instead. Same showtime, you know. And like he's gonna have to go and complain to an usher or something to be like, check their ticket. I bet you they don't have one.
Wow. Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
because
what
I
would you
have
do?
a stack right here.
What would you
Go
do?
through all
Like,
of them.
I mean, you don't want to get up and go complain.
Yeah, that's the
because
thing.
you're
If
gonna
I spent,
miss the movie.
if
So
I
then-
spent $2,200 to buy out that theater and somebody else came in there, God damn it,
You know what? If I
get the fuck out of my theater.
if I spent that much to buy all those seats, I would spend another $100 or $200
security.
to give
buy a
to one of the
bouncer.
to give to one of the workers there and be like, here, this is yours.
Nobody
You
comes
keep
in.
people outside if you stand outside this door. $100. That's you probably make $10 an hour
Hire
here.
a couple fucking big.
I'm gonna pay you
thug
3 times
motherfucking
that
bouncers to stand outside
just to
the
stand
door.
outside. Just one
Private
of the
screening.
workers. Yeah, like
Damn,
make them wear CIA suits or something.
that is some seriously
pieces like
nerd gangster shit. Just bought out the whole theater. Like fuck you, I'm taking them all.
I'm mad I didn't think of it.
Damn, that's expensive. But would you really spend that much to see it? Private screening?
No.
Because let's be honest about this. One of my best memories, one of my favorite memories of the remastered Star Wars. I remember when they first remastered it, and it was the same kind of craze. Like, oh shit, Star Wars is coming
Like they're back in
into the
theaters. Holy
Like,
shit.
waited in line for hours. This was before there was online ticketing or any of that bullshit. You had to wait at the box office to get the fucking ticket.
You had to
Waited-
walk uphill to and from the theater.
You already
in the
know.
snow
You already
with the
know. It
Yeah.
was
with
raining
your little
inside.
brother on your back.
No, me and my buddy Jeff went to the mall and waited in line for like 3 hours to get tickets on opening day for the remastered Star Wars. We watched it, and I just remember at the end, the Death Star blows up, and the crowd just goes ape shit. Everybody in the theater is cheering and shit.
They didn't see it coming.
It was no, I mean
I
clearly
know.
they did, but I'm just saying that kind of adds to
Hey,
the excitement of
there
it.
was probably a kid in that theater who had never seen Star Wars.
There probably
before.
was.
That
There
was
You
their
know
probably
what?
first time.
That's probably you're
But
probably
but how much does that add to the experience of it? The atmosphere of like all these other people that are just as excited to see that fucking movie as you are. Like that, I think that adds something to it. I can watch it by myself when I buy the Blu-ray, because you know somebody that's going to spend $2,200 on fucking a stack of tickets is definitely going to get 6 copies of that bitch on Blu-ray just in case one doesn't work. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think I'd almost
So-
rather see it in a crowd of people, or at least with a group of my friends.
Wow.
Like,
So you'd rather be able to experience this Star Wars thing with a giant group of people rather than just being able to team up with like one friend for it. I feel like I've heard this argument before.
damn, that does sound. That's
it does.
man.
He likes to watch his movies like he plays his video
Some
games.
straight parallels there. I'm not gonna lie. That was you kind of mind fucked me there a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Tapped into my psyche a little bit or something. That was caught me red-handed. All right, well that's about it for this episode of Comic Book Nerd Nation. We'll see you fuckers next week. I'm Fox 2. We got Pirate
Goodbye, everyone.
and Topher.
Goodbye, everyone.
Peace.
Oh, God damn it! God damn it!
Busted.
God damn it!